Ladies and gentlemen, we are tonight's entertainment. Wait a minute. That's the wrong Joker. What is up, YouTube? Welcome back. This is the One Stop Shop podcast. I'm Stu. This is Sims. And yes, you missed a week. It's fine. It's all right. You guys, I know you guys are missing us. It makes you want to hear this podcast even more. So we got a clearly Joker review coming your way. Since we didn't do one last week, I have seen Joker twice, and still just as good the second time. But I think I picked up on more. We'll get into the Joker review in a minute. I want to start off with we don't have Devin with us. We're going to get Devin back on to talk about more of like when it comes bowl season time and how our predictions for the college football season went. But right now, we're just going to kind of go over where we're standing, what it looks like currently right now. What is it, week 8 or 7?
Nah, I don't worry about that stuff, so I have no idea.
It's week 7 or 8. I think it's 8. So we're going to go off of the way it's looking right now. You can kind of tell the teams who – I mean, some of them you can't tell. Some of them, still got some big games coming up. But we're just going to kind of break down like a middle of the season update. So, do you remember who you put in the playoff?
Yeah, I got it ready.
Do you have mine there too?
Huh?
Do you have mine there too?
No.
Okay. Because I think I remember who I put, but I kind of.
No, I don't have yours.
Well, okay. We'll worry about the beginning predictions in the end. Forget that right now, just at this current moment, middle of the season, that we haven't pre-made who we think is going to be in the playoff. Who do you think is going to be in the playoff as of right now, where we're standing?
Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson, LSU.
Okay. So you're saying basically that means LSU's winning SEC.
Yeah.
And is anybody out of those teams, how many of them's undefeated still? All of them?
I believe so. LSU hasn't lost, have they?
No, not yet. But I would just make sure. So you got 4 undefeated teams in there.
Yeah.
Mine's not that far off, but so I think the committee knows that SEC is still the strongest. Like, we have the most teams in there that's like potentially gonna be vying for a spot. So I still think they could put 2 SEC teams. Here's how I'm saying it's gonna go. Georgia, it's good and bad. One, I don't think we are going out there really like gung-ho trying to put up 40,000 points. I think we're just kind of coasting, but that's also me worried that like the coasting is actually how we're playing. Like these past few weeks have been like too close for comfort. I mean, we lost a game. We lost the game to South Carolina. We beat Kentucky, but it was only 21-0. But it was pouring down. But the way we've been playing lately, we've got to do better because this last half of the season is our toughest part of the schedule. Like we got some big games. Bye week this week, next week Georgia, Florida, and that is the East. That game determines the East. Unless, I mean, yes, Missouri has one loss, but they have yet to play either of us, and I think both teams will be prepared. So I think I think we have been holding out a little bit. Our defense is going to match up better. I think we have one of the best defenses in college football. Our offense is sputtering right now. Big game comes around, they'll be like, okay, it's game time. So here's how I think it's going to go. I think we're going to make it all the way to the East and be in the SEC championship. We're not going to lose again. I think LSU is beating Bama, and I think Georgia. I'm going to say we win the SEC championship because that's the only way we're getting to the playoffs. If we win the rest of the way out. So, but I still think they will put LSU in it because that will only be their loss. Their only loss. Which means that would probably give Alabama one loss. I don't think they're going to lose another one, but them losing to LSU is going to put them out of the championship, the SEC championship. So I don't think they're going to leave. I think those three teams could be in there regardless from the SEC, but they're not going to put three SEC teams. It's a stretch to put two of them. So I think Alabama's going to be the one that don't make it. And I don't know who Clemson plays from here on out, but they have not looked good this season. Trevor Lawrence has been struggling more than usual. So if they don't play anybody else the rest of the season, which I don't think they do, I think their toughest game they have left is like Purdue. And that might be this week. And if they get past this week, I think it's Coast City. So I'm going to go ahead and keep Clemson in it because I don't think they play anybody else strong enough. And then that would leave Ohio State and Oklahoma. Both of those still undefeated at this point. But Ohio State really does not play anybody. I think this week they have Wisconsin. This week. Huh?
I was saying they're good.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't think they're great. So, if there can still be, I think, a game that Oklahoma can get upset in. So I still see them losing before Ohio State because Ohio State really doesn't play that caliber. You've heard me spill that. So I think Ohio State will go, but then I don't care who they're playing in the playoff. I think they're getting beat. It's like that. That's another level caliber of teams. And then from then on out, of course, I'm hoping Georgia. But I mean, I'll be honest. This is it's looking like a long shot. But Georgia really, we're sputtering right now. It's not. I would say since the Notre Dame game, but I think we looked strong at least through the Tennessee game. But after that game, we've been sluggish. I don't know. Not the defense, but the offense. The offense has been sluggish. We still should have beat South Carolina. We should have killed them. They gave us a lot of opportunities to still win it, but we lost it. Georgia always seems to do that. They lose some regular season game to nobody every year. So I think that's how it's going to be. Maybe we're just holding back. Maybe we're just not showing everything we got. Like we didn't. I'm not saying we purposely lost. We looked terrible in there. But I've seen rumors that Mike Bobo might be coming back as offensive coordinator because says he's stressed out as a head coach. He's head coaching like a smaller college, I think, or maybe like a Colorado State or something like that. I don't know. But like when he was at Georgia, that Georgia averaged the most points scored ever in UGA history with Bobo as our offensive coordinator. People were like, "Oh, we can't stand Bobo," but that's because we didn't have a defense at the time, and we were still losing more games than we should. With the defense we had plus Bobo and offense, I mean, I'm not trying to make this long, but like for example, in the game, Dooley, not Dooley. Who the heck is our offensive coordinator? I forgot his name. It just totally went off my head. Okay. Anyways, our offensive coordinator, he just tries to like. We started running to the outside. We started gaining yards. I don't know why he has to shove it up the middle. Coley, yeah, I said Dooley. Coley. Coley just ran it up the middle every single play. Like that's what he wants to do. And if Fromm has to throw more than 30 passes, the game's already not looking good for us. That's always how it goes. And when we started running on the outside against Kentucky and Georgia, Swift picked up 10 yards a run because they started busting to the outside. And, they went to the sideline. We're like, see, like, let us run out there. Anyways, you got anything else to add?
You said LSU, Georgia, Clemson, and Ohio State. No, that's it.
Okay. Well, that being said, well, who do you think is going to win it then? The championship.
LSU looks really good.
That's honestly, in all honesty, if we can make it to the SEC championship, Joe Burrow scares me more than anybody else in the college football right now. He scares me more than anybody else. Not Tua. I don't ankle or not. Tua don't scare me. Fields don't scare me. Jalen Hurts don't scare me. Joe Burrow, yeah. He's ready. Atlanta Falcons, listen to me right now if you're listening. There's you a draft pick, okay? There's you a draft pick. Anyways, I digress. I still got Georgia winning. I have to have hope, But with that being said,
I'm more LSU.
All right, Georgia. So SEC still.
Yeah, I thought it was Clemson at first, but
no, they're not looking.
It's not that. It's just Joe and LSU is looking nasty. I got it. Well, don't they play Bama next weekend or this weekend?
It's LSU Auburn this weekend, and then next weekend it's LSU Bama. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Let me see what they do against
I think
Auburn and Bama.
if that is right, next weekend is like does LSU always play Alabama when Georgia always plays Florida? 'Cause if so, yeah, I think so. Because like that's always a big weekend. Not always, but I don't know. So for some reason, I feel like in Georgia, we play that game the same time every year. So there's my move. Ours just don't. So
Well, what could end up happening is be no SEC teams in the playoff. Yeah, this is a stretch. Listen. So LSU plays Auburn and Bama, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Bama plays Auburn. So if like all three of them take a loss right there or something, and then like Georgia, let's see, Georgia like loses to Florida or they lose to Auburn, and then like Florida gets another loss, and then somehow like because there's a bunch of teams in there.
Everybody starts beating each other. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and then like somebody's going to the SEC championship, but you're like we got 3 losses and we won the SEC title.
I will say every season of football.
And Missouri, I forgot Missouri.
Every season of football, teams come out as like dominant forces. You know what I'm saying? Like some teams come out as like, man, that is a powerhouse. You know what I'm saying? This year, it's really not like that. Like there is a lot of, okay, yeah, they're good, but they can be beat. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody can be beat this season. As I don't think there's a team that cannot be beat.
Honestly, I just score more points than LSU. I mean, if you can find a way to do that, yeah.
This is why. This is what gives me more confidence in Georgia and our defense. Did you watch Florida LSU?
Florida LSU. No, I didn't watch that one.
That was the same week Georgia lost. That was a score fest. A score fest.
Yeah.
Defense was non-existent. So if you have a good defense, they can rival a team that puts up.
Florida has a good defense. Florida has a good defense.
I swear, LSU put 30 on them.
Yeah, and Florida has a good defense. So what? LSU is just that good.
Not even talking rivals. Like it's not Georgia's defense, especially.
I'm saying I don't think it matters how good your defense is. Offensive that good.
Especially because we're getting Campbell back this week, and we're getting Kearis Jackson, another wide receiver, back this week. If Cager is okay, we're getting him back. We had some injuries these last few weeks, but we're getting people back during this bye week, and they're gonna be hungry, bunch of hungry dogs out there ready to go play this game. I think when it's big game time, which is most of the second half of the season, it's. I mean, I'll be dead honest. If we come back on this podcast next week, or it'd probably be the week after, and we didn't win the game, it is what it is. I'm mad, but at this point where I'm sitting, it's still possible.
When I wasn't talking about the Georgia-Florida game, like their defense is going to stop you. I meant Florida defense against LSU, but LSU still forced it.
I think we can. I think we can stop them.
Let me see what they do against like Ben and Auburn.
You can stop any quarterback if you bring pressure. If you don't know how
Not
to,
true. That's not true.
okay, if you don't know how to pressure a quarterback though, that is 110% guaranteed loss.
Yeah, but some quarterbacks like that pressure,
But
that shape to it. You know, Jackson like it when y'all come screaming at him.
just because they like the pressure don't mean
On the edge. All right, I'm Lamar. I'm about to take off. You know, Johnny Manziel loved it when he could go. You know, Manziel was
and you know what happens to running quarterbacks? Running quarterbacks break their ankles every single week. That's why.
When did Michael Vick break his ankles?
I mean, he's been hurt before. I mean,
every Tom Brady's been hurt. You see him scrambling.
But a running quarterback is more likely to get hurt than a pocket passer. I mean, look, Tua went down last.
Tony Romo broke his collarbone how many times? Golly.
It's because he had no offensive line.
The Cowboys have no offense. The Cowboys have been at a nice offensive line. Don't do that.
My point is, if you pressure the quarterback, you force him to run. If you force him to run, he has one option. If he has to run, that's one option. It's okay.
That's the best option.
Let me back up defense is applying no pressure. Quarterback gets to stand back there all day. He can pass or he can run. But if you limit him to just running, he's already 50% worse than if he can also pass. If you pressure the quarterback, they are more likely to screw up. Florida did not pressure Joe Burrow.
Yeah, but he's not a running quarterback.
Well, then that's even worse. He'll stay in the pocket and get smashed. As long as you pressure.
Send some pressure at Lamar, see what happens. Send some pressure at Kyler Murray, see what happens.
I'm just saying. They still get hit. They can take off, but they're still going to get hit. And you can't have your quarterback running like a running back every day. He's got to be.
Lamar did. That darn Kentucky quarterback sure was. Golly, that man was a running back.
Exactly. And, I mean.
You know how to pass. He couldn't pass even though he had, like, when he did throw it, it was terrible. I was like, yeah, just keep running, dude. Don't pass.
I mean, it was, you can't. The new fad of like, oh, I want to be a quarterback in college. I want to take off and score rushing touchdowns. That's already the wrong mindset. Become a running back. You're a quarterback.
But sometimes you can't put that weight on there.
I'm not sitting here advocating for like straight pocket passers. I'm not advocating because Matt Ryan, no thank you, okay? I'm saying you can run a little bit, if you got to, but you got to have a line and you got to be able to throw the ball.
Like Lamar.
It's not also just like bomb city. Like quarterbacks come in, they're like, I can run 50 yards or I can throw it 70 yards. Okay.
Patrick.
Can you accurately throw it 70 yards or can you just throw it 70 yards? You know what I'm saying?
Patrick got some accuracy.
I'm just saying it takes it all.
A-Rod got some accuracy.
It takes it all. Where's Johnny Manziel now, actually?
He had like other problems. He had like drug problems. Like, why would you do that?
Anyways.
Do what?
I'm just saying. There's a lot that goes to a quarterback. I don't know how we got on just talking straight about a quarterback, but
Florida's defense at Joe, but they didn't send no pressure. I was like, something about Lamar. Lamar get when you get out there.
Anyways, we done went down the rabbit hole. Yeah, we do this. So reel it back in. We just reel it back in a little bit. And we have every podcast, not everyone, but most of the time we have like a main event. I'm talking about like the key talking point. to me, we have like the big topic of the day, I guess. Well, as promised, we're bringing you the Joker review. Now, it's just, we've tried it before. We tried no spoilers and spoilers, like after, like halfway through, but like no spoilers. Go watch the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's great. It's I think personally the best solo film of the year. The best, and I wouldn't even say solo film. Like, it's not even a superhero movie. It's not a superhero movie. I don't even think he can call it that. And I'm not saying in the form of like he's not a hero anyways, but I'm saying like it's not made like a comic book movie. So in that sense, it's just the I say that I'm not saying it's number one because I still think Endgame is number one. Best movie of the year, Endgame. But Joker is number two. You got any non-spoilers? Or just how you thought about it?
Non-spoilers. No, I ain't got no non-spoilers. I got time for people ain't seen the movie.
Go watch the movie. That is your final non-spoiler review. Go watch the movie 3 times because it takes, after watching it a second time, part of the movie takes your own guessing and knowledge into account. You have to determine some things for yourself. So just know that going into it. Spoiler time. Yeah, if you got some points on it, just start talking about it. Because, I mean, there's so much. There's so much. You know, it's just.
Okay. Yeah, I got some. I'll start with this question I have. So when he goes to the asylum or wherever, he goes to the asylum, and he asks the dude, "How does somebody end up in here?" He's like, "Do you have to commit a crime?" He's like, "Some people do. Some people are crazy. Some people have nowhere else to go." Why did he ask that? If he had already been in there before? Because when the psychiatrist asked him, he was like, "Sometimes I feel like I would still be better locked up." Because at the beginning, it showed him like banging his head on the wall, and like it was like white around it, like the walls were like white.
Yeah, like an asylum. Yeah.
And so asylum. So that part, not confusing, but is that, I feel like that might be none of this happened because at the end we go back to him in the asylum and she's like, "What are you laughing at? Like, what's funny?" He's like, "You wouldn't get it."
Yeah.
So is what you wouldn't get everything that just happened in between? Well, I'll start with
that. Okay, so I was gonna bring up that point too. Not the whole like him going to get his mom's files, but just the whole thing in general. Did that just come from your mind, or have you been like watching videos and looking at extra stuff?
I haven't looked at it.
Okay, so I mean I have watched other videos like reviews and like Uh, if you ever watched that Film Theory guy, like he just puts like he does certain things. It's like what if so and so, and it's like not real, but it's his theory. You know what I'm saying? But he does like Joker. It's a really good one. I'd go watch it if I were you. But when I was thinking about that last scene, and I was like, hmm, that is. I was thinking about it on my own, like. What is I mean, I know that I know people have been talking about the ending. And I was like, what does it mean? So, I looked it up a little bit and I was like, okay, let me think about all the aspects of it. And I actually didn't think about the asylum part. But so okay, because your question kind of like is broader than just that. So I don't think it was real. I don't think the whole movie was real. Because they give you the impression, and they clearly make it known throughout the movie that like he can think of things that he's just imagining. You know what I'm saying? With him on the Murray show, and like Murray calls him down there, he's like, I wish I had a son like you, and he was like, oh, and that wasn't real. The whole like date with the girl never happened. And it's like
I'm getting kind of freaked out right now. It's kind of dark in here. I'm starting to think about the movie. I'm getting freaked out.
I love this movie so much, man. It's so oh my gosh. But like, and the film theory guy kind of helped me like understand all this stuff of like, he also believes that like it could be fake because if you like, he pointed out, if you realize the way Arthur does stuff, it's not like he's really planning it. It's kind of like it comes to him. You know how like you're imagining something and then like, or like dreaming, and then like something else will just happen, and like it's just part of the dream or part of the imagination. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't sit there and plan out what you're going to imagine. Few examples.
One time I did. I wanted to have the same dream again, so I did the same thing I did that
night. So it's few examples of this. The big one is probably he was going to go on the Murray show and kill himself. Up until the point of where he was actually sitting in the chair on the show, he was planning on shooting himself. He practiced it in his house. He sat there in the seat with the makeup on and like held it there, But the impulse and the moment on the show, his mind changed. What changed his mind to, you know what? I'm actually going to kill Murray. Okay, go ahead.
What is there showing that he was going to kill himself? And what if him practicing is just like a blank? How do you know he plans on?
I mean, it just leads. That's why. I mean, you can think of the whole movie. That's why they left it like so many questions. Like it's crazy. Like I think just the way they were setting it up, it leads you to believe he's going to shoot himself. Because like in his house, he's like knock knock, and he's like, "You want to hear a joke?" And he's like, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna, that's the joke. I killed myself." And then in his notebook, it was like, maybe in death. Or maybe my death will make more sense than my life. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I think, but then in that last impulse, he was like, no, I'm killing Murray, And like, that was one. And then, like, another example was like, the way he just kind of the more confident he was getting in himself, the more jokerish he was becoming. He started making more of those impulse decisions, like an imagination, but like it changes. Like, oh, you get what I'm saying? Like he's kind of it's like an imagination. He can change what happens in the imagination.
But that's kind of hard to do when you're dreaming.
I mean,
if you want to do something, you're like, why can't I do this?
Imagining. Another point he pointed out of why it could be fake was like the sometimes when he talked to people, you didn't hear them answer back like properly. Like, for example, when he was sitting there and talking to his therapist, he was like, "You don't listen, do you?" He's like, "You've never listened." He's like, "How's it going at work? How's your life? Are you having any negative thoughts?" All I have are negative thoughts. She doesn't answer him. She just totally does not answer him. And in his mind, if he's imagining that, he didn't imagine her giving an answer. He was just imagining what he was saying. Just the way he kind of pointed that out made me think like a little thing. And the joke he made at the end, did you catch him say like something about it's between him and I? Did you hear him say it? He was like, "What are you laughing at?" He's like, "It's between him and I." He's like, "You wouldn't get it." And then like it shows Bruce standing there with his dead parents. Like it cuts back to Bruce. If he was locked up already, how would he know? Like, how would he know that happened to Bruce? How would he know if there was a joke between him and Bruce? How did he know that his parents were going to die? Because he was knocked out cold. He didn't know that dude was going to go shoot his parents. So that's just another reason of why it could all be in his head. I don't know. It's crazy, but that's what they wanted you to think. So a part of the asylum too, like he could have been thinking about himself and like truly not thinking he's crazy and imagining like, how do you end up in here? Like not willing to accept that he's actually in there. It's
if you looking at it as like two separate movies, so like with the first question I posed, that's saying the whole chunk of it was like fake in the middle, like that didn't even happen.
Yeah.
But that's what the first question. But like if you don't look at it that way, you just like look at it like a movie.
Yeah.
There was one thing it took me through like a ride of like not emotions but like
intense, like kind of like on the
that, but like, oh snap, we're doing that.
Yeah.
So at first we're like, okay, Batman, Joker are brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know you could just say that and do that, but okay, we're doing that. But then they go and he sees the records and okay, that's not true. I'm like, dang, okay. It was fun while it lasted. But then he burns that picture. And on the back it says, "I love your smile." It says like TW.
Yeah.
Thomas Wayne. So I'm like, no, wait a minute. Are we back in this now? So that was like, it's real. It's not doing it.
It's crazy.
I like that.
I know he purposely, like Todd Phillips, the director, I know he purposely left all this stuff for us to question.
Yeah. I think my favorite line might be what I heard while avoiding the trailers. which I heard with no audio, or no, I heard with no visual, because I was in the kitchen when it came on, so I was trying to run over there to turn it off, so I didn't see it. But it's when you introduce me, can you call me Lionel Joker?
Yes.
So seeing it in there, it was just as far. I really like that line. He really, I wish people didn't do this. Especially like my family members, like I wish they wouldn't. But he made me want to like smoke cigarettes, and like I don't want to do that. But that man was so cool with like he would blow this. He was so cool with. I said, "Dang, let me go get a pack or something." This man is too cool with his cigarettes. This man got me wanting to smoke cigarettes, and I hate people that smoke cigarettes. Yeah. Did you like that line?
Yes. Yeah, I love that line.
Does it make you want to smoke cigarettes, or is that just me?
For a second, it did. For a second, I was like, he walking in slow motion, and he's like when he like. I'll get to this scene in a minute, but when he goes like full Joker mode, you know, with the whole suit, and he's headed towards the show. No, it's like yeah, and he gets away from the cops, and he's like walking past, and it's slow motion. And but he holds it like he doesn't breathe it out. He's just like. I'm just like, dang, but I was like, okay. I was like, no. I was like, it's a movie. It is a movie.
You can go from here with something you got.
Okay. Well, I wanted to point out my favorite scenes, but let me do this first. I think now me and you don't claim to be movie critics. Like, you know, I don't want to be a movie critic because I don't even like Rotten Tomatoes and all that because they give movies crappy ratings just for no reason. But I think we enjoy movies well enough and we understand the culture and to a point of where it's like we see all the little things in movies now, especially superhero type movies, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, back in like 2016, we just like liked the movies. It was just like Suicide Squad. Oh, that movie was fun. Justice League, best movie I ever seen.
2016, that's Civil War.
Well, I mean, I'm just putting the bad ones in there. Like we used to think like, oh, Justice League was fun, and it's awful. You know what I'm saying? Now we can see it. Now we know how to break down a movie better.
I'm glad you didn't name BVS.
I like BVS. So, I mean, I understand where people are like, it's not Lex Luthor, but like, okay, he's a fight actor. Oh, okay, anyway, so it's like, here's what I'm getting at. Mackenzie, I took her to watch it. That's why I've seen it twice. She, like, the scene, the perfect execution of the slow buildup of him becoming Joker, you know what I'm saying? And the perfect execution of something happening and them playing that music, you know? It's like when they start playing the music, you're like, oh, you're like, here it is. Like that, when they start playing that music, and that's what got me so hyped. Like I was in there, I was like, yes, like, this is it. This is fine. And like we know how to read the music. We know how to see the buildup. We know how to dissect all that. You know what I'm saying? We got in the car and I was like, Mackenzie, wasn't that fun how they like slowly built up the music and like how he was slowly turning into the Joker and like he wasn't Joker until the end, and like when he would do something like the scene where he threw the bag, he was like slow music and he was becoming the Joker, and she was like I didn't see that as him becoming the Joker, and she was like I just thought he was like mad walking down the hallway, and she was like the music didn't give nothing away. And like the perfect example, the scene of it doesn't show him kill her and her daughter. I'm not going to get into that scene. I'm just going to say it doesn't show that. But when he's walking out and you hear the music and it's like, wah, wah, and you're like, oh, like you know what I'm talking about with the music. It's like the music led you to believe he did it. And the music led you to believe this is the point. This is the point. She didn't see that. She was like, when he left, I didn't think he killed him. He was like, I just thought he was mad. And I was like, no, I was like, the music leads you to believe, and like the way he's carrying himself leads you to believe. But like, I think me and you and like other moviegoers, like, I think we can break that down better than some people. Like you have to be able to do that with this movie. Like you have to be able to see through the cracks, or you're not gonna get it. I don't think. But like you got to be able to get it. And with that being said, I think all my favorite scenes referred to the music, and like when they were doing the Fa stuff. So like he kills them on the train. At first, I really like that train because it's like the lights are flashing on the subway, and he's like uncontrollably laughing. He's and like the dude's singing, and he's like spinning around the pole, and they're getting closer to him, and you felt like it felt creepy. You were like, okay. I was like, you're like, this is weird, and we know he has a gun on him, so this is weird. And then like, the way they perfectly made you feel bad for him. Like I was like, quit messing with him. I was like, you're drunk. Go home. Quit messing with him. And he's like, he's laughing and he can't help it. And he pulls his like hat off and he's like, what's funny? And he's like, no, I'm sorry. He's like, I have a condition. And he's like, here's your condition. And they just start beating the crap out of him. And it's like, the lights are flickering. And then it's like, boom. And just like, dude. And I'm like, oh. And it's just that scene. And then when he like, he kind of calms down. He's like, oh, he's like, I kind of like this. And that's when he starts walking. Like, I've just been getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. He's like, he starts walking down the hallway and you hear the music and and then he goes to her apartment. I was like, I know we looked at each other in the theater. I was like, and I was, oh, this man is Fa. And then that was my favorite scene up until the point where he becomes fully he kills old buddy Randall and lets the other dude go. And I'll talk about the other dude in a minute. But he lets him go and he finishes the makeup and it starts doing the wah, 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 wah. And, he's walking out and he's got the hair in the suit, but it's only showing his back. And then he gets in the elevator. He just goes like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that little half smile and like the elevator closes. I'm like, oh, I said that was my favorite scene because the music and the way he just kind of like, you've seen his face. And when he hit that little smirk, you knew that was, you know what I'm saying? You knew like, yep, this is it. This is it. And then he was dancing down the stairs. And I was like, oh, he was Fa, he's Fa, he's Fa. And yeah, man. And I said, another thing, like the dude pointed out on YouTube, he was like, you notice how when he was first getting into it, he was doing those like little dances, like, oh, I don't know if I'm Joker. But then when he like fully embraced it with the music, he was hitting the like and all this, like, he's willing to open up his dance arsenal because he fully accepts his role. And like the part of like his there's a mystery about the Joker. Nobody knows his real origin. But this movie gave you an origin of Arthur Fleck until they said he was adopted. And then you're like, maybe that's not his name. There's still mystery. So him forgetting Arthur Fleck, him forgetting his past life and fully embracing Joker. It's like he's fully become Joker. You know what I'm saying? That is his life now. Not Arthur Fleck. Joker is his life. And the scene where like it's like the perfect shot ever. When they're like chasing him and like they get on the subway and he accidentally shoots the clown, the cops, and they start attacking the cops, and Joker just takes his mask and he's just like and pulls that clown mask over his face. I was like, I just the way they did stuff. I can't even. The way they did stuff was amazing. And watching it the second time, I didn't consider this a favorite scene just because I guess I was so enriched in it. But the second time, it definitely became one of my favorites. It's when they lay him on the car and he gets up and he's like, but he smears the blood into the smile. I was like, I'm in it. This is fun. This is amazing. And that's when I knew it was great. But those are all my favorite scenes. Okay, you can go with something.
The part when he's going Joker, and he's in there. First off, he's already geeked, but he's even more geeked at this point. And this man basically did like, that meme, like that stereotype, or like you go off to college, or like a girl has a bad day and then they come home and cut their hair off and their hair. This man's in there just spraying I'm like, oh, this man's going full with it now. That was so fun. He was like dancing while he was geek. I was like, this man's having too much fun. I was gonna mention that I felt bad for him because I felt bad for him from like the first scene because he's in the clown suit first, right? And they steal his sign. And I'm like, what? Why? Like, what was the purpose of that? Like, I already feel bad for him. And they just did that over and over and over to the point where, like, even when like he goes to when he goes to see Bruce, weird to like stick your fingers in it. That's weird. Okay, but like the dude was like, what are you doing? Like, I was like, okay, chill, dude. Like, he's not doing it.
Yeah, that kind of. I don't like that Alfred. They made me not like Alfred for a minute. I was like, dang, Alfred. Well, he's trying to have a moment with his brother. I was like, just give him a minute. That's his brother.
Like, it's weird to stick your hand in a child's mouth, but like, just chill out. Like, it's not a big deal. So I felt bad for him there. And then like Thomas punched him like for no reason. I was like, there's no like you didn't punch him. Like, calm down.
I didn't like Thomas either.
All y'all do is I hate that. But they just made me kept feeling bad for him.
Yeah.
But this is a big thing. Visually, like it looked like the movie looked like amazing.
Yeah.
It felt dark, like, and it looked dark. I know he wore the clown makeup before, and we saw clown stuff before, but like once he like had that on the whole time, it's almost like when he became a Joker, like it got lighter. And, like, that's dark. It was even like not kind of the tone, like not in the sense of like he's killing people. So I know that's dark, but I don't know.
Until the ending scene where it's like there's riots in the street. Then it kind of got back a little bit. It got a little dark again.
But earlier, so when we came out the movie, I was counting his body count, and I was like, I'm counting the mom and the girl because they just didn't show it, but we know that they're dead. And then I was like, actually, no, Juan was like, I was talking to Juan about it, and he was like, I don't think they killed him, or I don't think he killed them. I was like, no, Juan, they killed him. He killed him. He was like, he didn't have a reason to. What was his reason? Like, he only killed the people that he had a reason for. He didn't kill he was like, he didn't kill the midget. He let the midget go. Midget was nice to him. This lady didn't do nothing to him. The little girl didn't do nothing to him. But you kind of got a point. So I could see both ways. Like when I watched the movie, to me it's showing they're dead. But then when I think about it, I'm like, I don't know if they are dead because they didn't do nothing.
But the way he came busting out the apartment, it was like wah wah.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It leads me to that. But then when I think about it, I'm like, what did they do? Like everybody he killed did something to him.
Exactly. And let me add to that real quick, because like I still think he killed him. And this sounds awful, and it probably sounds awful coming out of everybody's mouth that watched it. I think everybody was okay with everybody he killed, other than them, because everybody else did him wrong. You know what I'm saying? I agree. I was like he offed the mom. I was like, shoot, whatever. He off Randall. I was like, fine. Murray, fine. Those three dudes, fine. But like, the only one that bothered me was like, why did he kill them? You know. But one of the reasons, I think that's why they didn't show it. Like, other than it just being like a little girl, I think they want you to believe, did he kill somebody that didn't really do nothing to him, you know? But one of the things that still leads me to believe he might have, and this is one of the most like cryptic, creepiest scenes in the movie, is when he is sitting down on her, and this is when you find out that she actually didn't go on the date with him, and it was like oh snap, you know what I'm saying? Like my mouth, like when she was like, you're the guy from down the hall, right? I was like, what? Don't you just went on a date with him? And then it shows you know, that I was like, oh my gosh. But then he's like, I had a bad day. And she's like, can I call someone? Is your mom home? She's like, my daughter's asleep in her room. And he just turns and he goes, and then that's when he goes busting out I was like, okay. It was first off, I thought he like that the movie makes you like the Joker. But that one scene right there, I was like, okay. I was like, Arthur, you didn't have to kill them. I was like, they didn't. Please, I think that's why they didn't show it, because they let you have that little glimmer of hope that he doesn't just kill anybody. I was like, oh, please, oh, don't have killed them, because like I still think he did though. It's like I think he did, and that's why I don't know, man.
It's hard because if you try to go by like,
I know this one's crazy.
You try to go by the logic of the movie,
but
then it's like I can look at this movie like three ways of what actually happened.
Exactly.
So, like, am I following? Like they said, like they showed, you didn't do nothing to him. He's not gonna kill you. I'm like, okay, but then like you straight up like you walked, like you showed, like you lined it up every single thing, and then you showed the afterwards of everything I needed to see. I need to be like, they're dead. But it's like, it's hard.
That kind of leads me into the other person he actually did let go, and that was the midget. He okay, this is another example of like people who understand movies, people who don't. I'm not saying like, I'm not calling out like people who don't. I'm just saying we were sitting in theaters, and when we were in our movie, when I was with you and Zell, it was like that moment where you clearly see him lock the door. And then he comes in and he's like, what can I help you guys with? You know? And it's like he's about to kill them.
As soon as I saw him walk the door, I said, "It's a wrap."
And you know, he like that was the most gruesome part of the movie. Like he just bashed that man's head into that wall. But then he goes, you can go. And, you know, it's like, okay, whoo, you know, he's letting him leave. But then he runs to open the door and it's locked. And I know everybody in our theater goes, no. It was like, no, he's going to kill him. He's going to kill him. Like, that led you to believe he wasn't going to let him get away, right? Like, when he goes to open the door and it was locked, I was like, he locked the door for a reason. I was like, he's going to kill him.
So I thought, so you said that was the most gruesome part. To me, what I thought was about to happen was about to be the most gruesome part. I thought he was going to let this man struggle to open the door and be like, come on, you can reach it. And then him not get it. Because as soon as he locked it, the whole time, as soon as I saw him lock it, I didn't forget. I was like, every time I remember it, it's locked. It's locked. And then I see him run. I'm like, dude, just go ahead and die. You're not making it. I'm like, you're not like, I remember he goes to put it. I'm like, oh, he's gonna be almost able. I could see that.
And like you could hear the people in our theater go, oh, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I was like, dang, that's kind of more gruesome than the bashing. It's just toying with somebody like that.
But this is the comparison. In our theater with Mackenzie, he goes to unlock the door, and people started laughing. They were like, it was like, he's too short, haha. And I was like, no, he's about to kill him. Y'all don't do y'all not realize the severity of this? And like, it was just it was two different theaters. It's like they didn't understand. It was just like they didn't understand how the movie worked. But that and the other thing I was going to mention, like about him and the previous thing was like the him killing people. The way it made you feel bad, it led you to believe that like those didn't hurt your feelings when he killed them. You know what I'm saying? Other than the girl and her daughter, like it led like you were like, okay, kill Murray. But the two scenes to me, and that really like made me like cringe off of like quit being mean to him. You know what I'm saying? Was actually three scenes. One, not only them breaking the sign over his face and like beating him, but when he goes to his boss after, and the boss is like, just give the dude back his sign. And he's like, why would I steal his sign? You know, and like you can see like the sorrow in his face. And I'm like, what a D-bag. Like, really? Why would he steal a sign? Please answer that question, you know? And I was like, dang, I'm sorry, Arthur. But like the second the second one was when he was on the bus just making the kid laugh, you know? And like the mom was like, quit messing with my kid. And he was like, I'm sorry. And he was like, he starts laughing. And she's like, is it funny? And he's like, no. He's like, I'm sorry, I have a condition. It's like, he has a condition, lady. Like, he cannot help that he's laughing. Like, quit being rude. You know what I'm saying? And then the third one was the dudes on the train. Like, I felt bad for it. Like, every time he was uncontrollably laughing, and I could tell it was a condition and it was hurting him, you know? It was hurting him. He was coughing and they were making fun of him. I was like, quit making fun of him. I know what you're about to say, but I was like, quit making fun of him. Go ahead with your little throw up scene. I know.
Oh my god, dude, that thing is so gross. It makes I want to throw up when he starts doing that darn laugh, and then he's like tries to.
But that makes me feel more bad for him because I know he's hurting. I know he's like.
But all them noises, it's like, come on, I'm about to throw up. I was in the theater like, oh my god, this is.
When he's up on the stage, like doing the comedy act, and he was like, that was the one that you like gagged at. He was like, ha ha ha, and he was like, and you were like, I think you made like a gagging noise. He was like, and you were like,
I was like, dude, that's enough. But when you were just saying that, it just showed. It reminded me of the other Joker quote. I had to look it up right here because you were showing how like it shows him, with the sign, and it's like steals the sign and the baby and all that stuff. And it reminds me of all it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man alive to lunacy. And that, I don't know if that all happened in one day, but even if just like one of those happened, and it's like I'm just trying to make your child happy.
Yeah. What is that quote from?
I think it's. I don't want to quote it wrong. Let me just see.
While you're doing that, he didn't quote it, but he wrote it in his journal. When he says like, the thing about a mental illness is people expect you to behave as if you don't. You remember that when he writes the big thing in his book. He's like, the thing about a mental illness is people expect you to behave as if you don't.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He didn't quote that, but it was a quote because he wrote it. You know what I'm saying? Like that was fun. How they emphasized on that. That was cool.
I can't see which movie it's from, or if it's from one of the TV shows. But that just reminded me of that.
But that was he wrote that in his notebook. I was like, that was a cool quote. One more thing I had to mention was, did you catch how like this is also a part of like, he really didn't become Joker until he killed Murray. Like, it was still making you wait to the point of like, and you knew because he practiced it in his house. He practiced when he said knock knock, that's when he was gonna do it. He was like, would you want to hear a joke? And he was like, okay, Murray, I'll tell you a joke. He goes, knock knock, bang. And so you're like, okay, that's when he's gonna do it. But on the Murray show, when he said knock knock, that you were like, I was like, here it goes, but he didn't do it, and it still made you wait. You know what I'm saying? Did you catch that? Like, he said, and that's when he said like, he was like, I got a book, and just because it didn't go perfectly the way he had set it up, he had to do it perfect, which made you wait. He was like flipping. It was like, always got a book, and he was flipping. And he goes, knock knock, and you're like, here it goes, but it doesn't, because Murray goes. He was like, that's it, and Arthur goes, I want to get it right. You remember that? Like,
yeah.
When he said, I want to get it right, you're like, oh, he's making him wait. Like, he's making us wait, because like, that's when he was supposed to do it, but it didn't go the way he planned. So he said, I want to get it right, but nobody knew what he meant other than us and him. That was And then I think that's also when he changed his mind of like, I want to get it right. And he's like, you know what? I'll get it right by killing you, not myself. And that's how I viewed it. It was cool.
I remember all that. It's just I don't know if it's because I didn't look at it. I never looked at him killing himself.
Yeah.
I just looked at it as the quote unquote the controversy. God, that man just thought of something funny from the movie. The controversy is just him like bringing a gun on the show.
Yeah.
And having it like that. But what is his name?
I was about to say, you had the mindset of Denzel. I don't know if you could hear Denzel because I was in the middle, but like every single time Murray insulted him or did something, Denzel goes, I know he's about to off him. Like, Denzel knew the whole time he was killing Murray. Denzel, like, he goes on the show and he starts dancing out. He goes, oh, he's about to light up Murray. Like every like when he flipped to the book, it was like, I want to get it right. And Denzel was like, he's about to off him. Here we go. And I'm like, this man is confident he's going to kill Murray. And then he did. Denzel was like, there you go. I told you. And like, it was.
I forgot that Denzel, maybe Devin too, don't sit next to them in movies because they will ruin the movie even if they haven't seen it because they just know what's going to happen. So they're just going to say it out loud. Because we went to go see something. I think I had already seen it. And Mason hadn't. And Denzel was just like rattling off. I'm like, dang, I'm glad I already saw this movie because it would have all been spoiled before it even happened.
But like the first,
I could hear him talking the whole time.
when Murray was like, check out this comedian that we got, and he was making the jokes of him, and like that's when Arthur realized like, oh, my idol is making fun of me. That's the first time Denzel goes, oh, he's gonna off him. He's gonna off him, and I was like, okay, he's gonna kill him, I guess. But he did. Oh man, I don't know. It was set up perfectly. You got anything else?
It was just funny how we mentioned it, but whenever he goes on, he quote unquote goes onto the show in the crowd and like Murray's like complimenting him and doing all that stuff. I don't know. It's just like to think like if that part of them like, well, okay, we know that he imagined that, but to think that he imagined like if all that's fake in the middle, that he imagining that, like how bad did that man want to be on the Murray Show? You imagine yourself imagining it.
That's why. Yeah, I also like. I don't fully believe it's fake. I do. I don't know. I believe parts are real and parts are fake, but that wouldn't add up because that means he couldn't be in the asylum the whole time. I don't know. I'm conflicted, but it's what it's supposed to make you do. So I don't know. It's good.
Another way I saw the ending of him not sharing the joke. This goes with it was all real part. Mm-hmm. Is he's like, you wouldn't get it. To me, it's kind of like he was trying to be a comedian to get people laugh. Like, he wants to make people laugh. Yeah. But he's went through this and he's like, I don't know. It's funny for me. Like, I don't need y'all to.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's funny. You're not going to get it. It's good for me. So it showed like him evolving in that sense. I like that. If all that's real.
That's what he was saying on Murray too. And Murray was like, you think killing those 3 dudes was funny? And he goes, yes, I do. Like,
I could tell Murray was trying to make him like kind of be like, he was trying to get him like to mince his words, but he was not mincing his words. He was just saying it straight up. He was trying to guilt him and like, you think that's funny? Yeah.
The last, you got something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I got a whole list. Actually, no, I actually only have like 3 more things. Actually, 4 more things. Actually,
Because my thing might be something you got. So
you can go for it. I don't care.
I was gonna do like funniest scenes.
Yeah, that'll go with one of mine. So yeah.
So I think the 2 funniest scenes was the refrigerator, and I'll let you tell it since you love that. Or when he quits talking to them when he's trying to go back in the hospital and he just straight runs into the door that was the exit, not the entrance. He smacks. But that was the 2 funniest scenes.
Well, some of this is the part I was gonna already say. Some of the funny parts to me is when he's in his room practicing, like even with the gun, like the way that he practices anything, like he would like start it and then be like he would just like randomly just restart and go. And he's like, go get. He just keeps doing that over. I'm like, this man is like really trying to get this down pat. So when like he just takes so many times to practice the thing and like, but with the when he runs into the wall, that one is just like that's more of your just instant laughter.
Yeah.
When he gets in the fridge, so I was sitting there. I was like, this is reminding me of the Venom scene where he's like ransacking his fridge. Like, what, are you hungry or something? What are you doing? He's taking out all this stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? And then I realized this is supposed to get. Oh, I don't get in the fridge. This man climbed. He climbed in and then he shut the door. I was all. Oh, that was hilarious.
I wonder how many fridges they had to find that were like he could actually fit in.
Really just all
like with everything out of it.
Close the door. I like how they did. I like how they I like how they showed in the way they revealed that it was he had imagined some stuff. Because they could have went for like the what are you doing? And like, what are you doing? You live down there, don't you? He could have been like, what are you talking about? We went on a date, don't you remember? Mm-hmm. We didn't go on a date. And it'd be like, oh yeah, we didn't go on a date. But they went with like we're just gonna show you what you saw first, and then we're gonna show that she was not there. I was like,
yeah.
It's kind of creepy. But it was kind of cool. And every time they did that, it was cool. The whole time I was thinking, how did he get her? Like, I don't understand how he's with her. This doesn't make any sense. Like,
how did they go from like, oh, you lived in the hall? Oh, would you like to come to my comedy show? To like straight on making it. Like he just like and slung open the door.
The bag scene is probably my favorite scene, even though it didn't lead directly to him like going all the way to being Joker. But that when he throws it and it's just slow-mo, that was so fun. Yeah. But I like how they showed Bruce's parents dying, because it was like a lead up to it. We were leading up to, but they did it. I wasn't expecting it, so I was like, "Oh, okay, we're getting it," and it just felt. It was the same thing, typical, horror flying. But it just felt different because like they went in a different way and like we saw from like a different perspective.
Like the Joker caused it. Yeah.
Yeah, like we saw like, oh, this is happening. This dude just randomly turns and there this is. So it kind of like linked them together. It was
yeah.
But this is my last point. I saved the best thing for last. If there's one reason I like this movie, it's because it spawned this parody. I'm really hoping you've seen this parody that SNL did.
I haven't seen the SNL parody.
They did. You want me to tell you what the topic is of the parody?
Yeah, because I think I might have seen like a reference of it, but I haven't seen it.
They did a Grouch parody. SNL.
Okay, yeah.
that trailer that they did, you need to watch it. And if y'all haven't watched it, you need to watch it. That trailer made me to go to the theater and see this Grouch movie that's not coming out. That was amazing. In terms of, like, somebody said SNL hasn't been good since blah blah blah, but this might be some of the best stuff they've ever done. I don't know if all that's true, because I saw those Peyton Manning SNL sketch that was funny the other day, but this was really good. So yeah, you need to go watch it. Like, it's really good.
I'll watch it.
That, if anything else, I'm glad the Joker movie came out because I got to see how good that parody was. Yeah.
Nice.
That's it.
I'm trying to think of if I have
any points. I could have went more, but then that's when we start to get to you want just the whole scene by scene of what happened in the movie, and I'm not going to do that. That's when we get to, like, that end game when we darn near said the whole.
So I think we can just say the one thing I want to mention. They, like Todd Phillips, Joaquin has said, like, oh, let me mention this. That just another little flash scene is, like, when before he kills Randall in the apartment, and they're talking to him, and he's kind of like drawing that little smiley face, and he laughs, and, like, you know what I'm saying, like, he's kind of just, like, a little bit going crazy, and he's already got the white makeup on, but nothing else, and his arms are, like, on the door frame, and he just kind of, like, the way he, like, looks up, I was like, he kind of looks creepy right there. I was like, I don't know, just the way they said stuff like that. But Todd Phillips and all of them were like, this is a standalone. This has nothing to do with a series, you know? And it works perfectly as a standalone, even though they left so many cliffhangers, which they did it on purpose, and, like, question marks. But, man, I want another one. I want Joaquin again. And, like, because, like, two very different situations, but the two best Jokers of all time, if they each only do one movie, and people are going to be like, gosh, you know, I want to see, I mean, he passed away, but Joaquin can do another one. We can see more of him, you know? But the way it looks, we're not going to. That was it. That was.
Well, there's one thing I learned. I was right about Jared Leto being a terrible Joker from the beginning.
I will say this.
Because I finally got to see what the good Joker looks like. And I was right. Jared Leto was terrible.
I will say this.
Or I will say this. It wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't like it. Maybe he wasn't terrible to some people.
He wasn't. I would say he's not terrible. I would say there's been 5 live-action Jokers in movies. I'm not talking about Gotham. Now, I have seen all their portrayals other than the Cesar Romero guy, like the old behind first one. You know what I'm saying? I have not seen that one. So, what I have seen of him, though, he's going 5. I know Jack Nicholson did a good job in that role he did being his Joker. But personally, he's still number 4. I would put Jared at 3 because Jared had his high points. And to be fair, he said they cut like 10 minutes out of him, you know?
I don't like that he was a pimp. You can't change he was a pimp in that 10 minutes. What he did was a pimp in those 10 minutes.
But, I mean, if you could have gave me at least 10 minutes more, I might have even liked him more. I don't know. But, I mean, he gets number 3. But he gets 3 out of 5, but 1 and 2's up here. You know what I'm saying? It's like 5, 4, 3, nice position, 1 and 2. Like 1 and 2 is not even in the camera. Like it's, you know what I'm saying? He could be number 3 on my list, but 1 and 2, there's no. But it's like, I know we talked about it on the way back. And I think, and you can talk about it if you want to on your belief or your point. I don't know because I just watched Dark Knight again. Me and Mackenzie are watching the trilogy. I don't know who I like better. I'll tell you why it's so hard. Because they're so. They are so different, but they are both so good.
I'm gonna just say I'm gonna go with the new one. But I haven't. I saw Heath once, like, and I was like younger, so like I wasn't really like watching it that well how I should. I probably missed like 20,000 different things. So once I see that again, because last I checked, they're on Netflix. I don't know if they're still on there. Even if they're not, I can watch them anytime.
Not the third one, but 1 and 2 are.
Well, I can just go on 1, 2, 3 movies anyway. That's how I watch like half my stuff. So once I see it again, I could say with certainty, but now I'm just gonna say Joaquin. Heath's not getting it because I haven't seen his recently enough to put it over that.
Yeah, fair enough. But I'll put it like this. If you want to break it down in the Life Hannah Montana situation, the way you put it, it took 2 Sweet Life shows, and it only took 1 Hannah show. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is the case for Heath. Heath was not the main focus of Dark Knight. Batman was also in that. Joaquin had his whole movie to do. So if he can still be that good and the whole movie wasn't about him, okay.
You missed it.
Yeah. But I have a case for Joaquin. Joaquin didn't have to have like a hero fighting him. It was a completely different type of story.
Yeah, I think it goes down. I think you missed the boat on that one. I think I might have said this. Maybe it was Juan I said this to. I thought I said maybe I said it to Juan. But if you say Joaquin has the solo, is all this? He has the whole solo. It's a solo. It's him. Okay. But then you gave Heath Batman. You literally gave Joker his brother. I don't know. It's his brother now. I don't know. You gave Heath his other side.
Yeah.
You play off of Batman. You the Batman Joker thing. That's automatically elevating Heath's performance. He's playing off of his nemesis. So he had the solo. Heath had Batman.
Yeah.
That canceled out to where it's even.
They're even. I still think they're even. But
even in the sense of nobody had a leg up on the other person. Then you just look at who did it better, not who had a leg up because who had more time. But you had Batman.
I honestly think we are in an impossible situation because I honestly think if both of them could have at least 2 movies, like Heath would have made another one and Joaquin do another one, I think I could give you a pick because you're amazing for one movie. Can you be double amazing for 2 movies? If they both would have had 2 movies, I think I could have made a clear decision. But now we're never going to get that. So I cannot. I don't. You want to know a little tidbit though, and like I guess I was on the hype, of, like believing it. It's not. It's like it's not hype. It's terrible. But for some reason, like the whole thing of like, oh, Heath Ledger went mad being Joker. That's why he died. You've heard that. So like, I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. Like Heath Ledger, that man went mad playing that role. Like there might have been some drugs involved, but no, that man was mad. That man went crazy. Did you see his journal? I was all about it. But then I was like, let me. But the reason I'm pointing this out, like in March this year, and you're not gonna remember him because, like you said, you've seen him when you're like 7 years old. There, one of the mob boss leaders in the movie. His name is, and he's a comic character. His name is Gamble, or yeah, Gamble. It's the black guy, and the one who's like he's like, I can have my man come up there and like take you out right now to the Joker. And Joker was like, how about a magic trick? And he's like, I'm gonna make this pencil disappear, and like boom, and he's like, ta-da. So not the guy he kills, but the who sent his man on him. And the one where Joker kills him, Joker kills Gamble when he's like, you want to know how I got these scars? He's like, my dad was a drinker and a fiend. He's like, he put the knife in my mouth. Why so serious? Like that's the scene where he kills Gamble. So that guy, that actor, in March, I don't know how I found this video. Have you ever heard of Collider Live? It's like a podcast, dude. Like Cody and Brandy were just on there, and like Jericho was just on there. But they don't just do like they do like movie stuff, but they do like wrestling too. So they had Gamble on there in March, and they asked him. They were like, "We've never asked anybody this question, and up until like our belief, we just like roll with the hype." They were like, did Heath go mad playing Joker? And I'm just calling him Gamble. I don't know his name. He was like, that is the nothing irritates me more. He said, nothing in this world irritates me more than when I hear people say that. Because he was like, Heath would be like, oh, why so serious? And Christopher Nolan would go cut, and Heath would be like, okay, what are we eating for dinner? Like, Heath would be like, where are we going? Applebee's? Like, he's like, just because he is a method actor and he like gets into his role, that's what method actors do. They basically live the role. He's like, that doesn't mean he wasn't Heath Ledger. And he said, and to be frank, he didn't even die filming this movie. He was filming that movie that they didn't get to release because he died. It was like it wasn't Mr. Megorium Wonder Emporium, but it was some weird movie like that with some crazy name. And he was filming it, and it never came out because he passed away during that filming. And so he was like, he died filming that movie. Like that's when he was on the substance abuse, and he was like, it's not because he was the Joker. He was like, he would snap out of it and be like. The other cool thing was he was talking about like just on set, like being there, and I have seen a lot of stuff about this. He was like, I've never been on a movie set that was just like the chillest. Like Nolan would be like, "What we doing today? Oh, we're filming. What we filming? I will figure it out." Like he was just like he and you probably don't remember this either, but the interrogation scenes where like
I guess I don't need to watch the movie again. Probably just mean I gave the whole plot. I'm good.
no, I'm just saying this is interrogation scenes where like Joker's filming himself and he's like, "Oh, I got the." He's filming from his phone and it goes to like national television. You know, it's an interrogation scene. Nolan wasn't even on set for those days. Heath made those videos himself, and they put it in the movie. And he said, like, he said, though it did not make him go mad being that role, he was like more method than he's ever seen anybody else be method. He said one day they were filming a scene that was the mob boss scene before Joker even comes in, and they have their own little dialogue. He said we spent a whole day just doing that scene and getting it right before Heath ever was on camera. And he said, but Heath dressed up in his wardrobe and makeup just so we could see him and act based off what he looked like. He wasn't even on camera that day, and he dressed up in the stuff just so they could see him and feed off him. And they shot him none that day. He was like the dude was great. I was like, damn, I wish. If you could have gave me 2 movies of both these Jokers, I could have gave you an answer, but I don't know what time we're looking at. Did you have a timer? Because
we can stop here because I didn't say when I forgot. So because what's my yeah, that's gonna take a minute. So we'll just wrap it up there.
Well, next time we have a podcast, can you introduce me as Joker?
At first, Murray didn't know what he's talking about. So you called me Joker.
Murray should have listened to that dude who was with him because he was like, "This is not a good idea," and Murray was like, "Chill." He's like, "Chill, man." And like Arthur's just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill you." That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with the podcast. Like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channel. You better go see Joker before you watch this. Go see Joker. Oh my gosh. And also, I don't think I got nothing else. You got anything else?
No, I was it. I'm not trying to go for nothing else.
Go watch the movie. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time.